Good evening, guys. It's Phil. It's All Leeds TV, and we are back with another big match preview. We are here to talk about Sunday's game. Obviously, I know we're a night or two early for many reasons, but we're here to talk about an interesting game on Sunday against Brentford on the back of two very good results. These were a cluster of three games we threw together, and hopefully round it up to 7 points. Welcome back to the big match preview, Chris Kelly. Long time to see.
Yeah, been in hiding. Only willing to speak if we do well for the last few weeks. So I've been from
right. Okay. Well, as long as if that's the justification, I accept it. I thought it was just because you didn't want to be with me anymore, and I was a bit sad. But now that you're back, it's good to have you along. As always, we're also joined by Beardface. I think Martin Riley.
Hello.
How are we doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Yeah, fantastic result the other night. Really enjoyed myself past few days, just reveling in the win and just having more confidence about the season going on. Really, it's amazing what the 3 points can do. Especially the way those 3 points arrived. It was just the best moment that it could possibly have come. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, as you can see, we are also joined by one other for now. I'll try keep him as low and quiet as possible. We should also hopefully be joined by a couple of others. Mike, I believe, is making an All Leeds TV debut tonight. If not an All Leeds TV debut, it's definitely a big match preview debut. So we're excited to have him along. He's the guy that runs our TikTok account. Been with us a little while now, but good to get him on the show. And LUFC Santa, of course, Big Scott. Wherever him and his wonderful beard are at the moment, they are meant to be joining us. I'd like to know why he's late. He's on my naughty list, but, whenever he gets here, I suppose. We can't have Santa on demand all the time, can we? Chris, how was your week? Obviously, I can pretend I didn't see you the other night, and we'll get into it. But where were you the other night, Chris?
I was stood in the cheese wedge, chewing my fingers down to the bone with that game. It's funny, isn't it, with a 1-0 win when it comes like that? Because I think that gives the players more confidence than if we'd have shithoused a 1-0 win, scoring in the 10th minute and then just dug in for 80 minutes. I think the fact it's come 92nd, 93rd minute, I reckon everyone's just going to be buzzing as long as we follow it up on Sunday. We've got to follow it up on Sunday.
It's a bit like the Wolves game as well. Obviously, we nicked a point in the last minute there, and that gave us a lot of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, the atmosphere the other night was... I've missed a couple of games this season, the home games. The two home games where I thought from watching it on the telly, the atmosphere looked the best. They're the two games that I've missed. That was obviously Leicester and Wolves. And it was my first time taking the misses the other night, and I feel like I picked the right game. Don't get me wrong, it was ridiculously stressful, but at the same time, the atmosphere first 10-15 minutes was just raucous. It was mad, it was great, and then it did tense up a bit as the game wore on, and I didn't feel like we created what I wanted to see us create. But I don't care how we got the 3 points. In the end, it was just utter relief. Martin, obviously, I know you weren't there, but from watching it on the telly, how did you think that we performed? Did you think we played well and deserved the win? Because I saw the shots at the end, we had 14 shots, and I was like, fucking when?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of it, because we did definitely keep hold of more of the ball, especially in the second half. Yeah. We look at the more team more looking likely to trying to take the game to them, and we need to say welcome to Mike, who's just joined us. So. Hi, Mike.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Nice having you in.
Cheers. Good to be here.
Good. So first half, it was kind of a bit more even in the first half, despite neither team not really having any big chances. And I felt over the course of the full game, we probably just about deserve it. But at the same time, a draw could easily have also been a fair result, because they did also have a decent chance to score as well, with 𝐵𝐃𝐄 missing that header, which he should definitely have buried. And I feel that we should just about have edged it, I think. Just about.
It was almost as though they didn't... We were doing the whole pass the ball around and cut them open, but not actually make any clear-cut chances. Whereas with them, it was the opposite. They had no intention to try and play through us or cut us open, but still had there was 3 or 4 times where I was like, ooh, like shit, that could have been 1-0, and there was uncomfortable moments in it. So yeah, I'll just cut off and say bonjour, Mike. Welcome to Big Match Preview. Is this an audience TV debut or just Big Match Preview debut?
Just Big Match. I was on the Q&A, not last one, the one before.
Right, my excuse for not knowing that is that it's him. It's his fault. I should have known. That's me
right.
doing an Oscar and admitting that I don't watch shows I'm not on. Welcome along. It's good to have you. What did you think of the game the other night?
I thought it was a good game. Dominated it really. As you said, they only had a couple chances, and that was through Zaha, and that was it. Just kept him quiet, bossed the game really.
Good.
It's just the final third, like the cutting edge bit, that needs to improve.
Well, on that front, fingers crossed, we're about to have some wonderful news. Martin, what has Marcelo Bielsa had to say this morning?
Well, yeah, it was quite a good press conference this morning. Not very many details, but other than the fact that Bamford and Ayling are both available. Finally, I don't expect either of them to start, to be honest, but I would say they'll. But you never know. He did say they were available. He didn't say that they would definitely be on the bench. He didn't say there was definitely going to be starting. I think he's keeping his hands close to his chest on this and whether he is going to play them. But going off what I saw of Bamford in the under 23s, he looks pretty damn fit for someone who's just returned from injury. But we all know what sort of fitness. Well, yeah, not just in the actual fitness sense, but yeah, yeah. I'm really hoping one of them or both of them are involved in some way on Sunday, because it would be a massive boost to us after the boost that we've already had this week with the 3 points. So that'd be great.
Yeah, Chris, you happy with everything that's come out of the press conference this morning?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think we've been screaming for Bamford to be fit again and Ayling. Maybe less so Ayling because he had a poor start to the season, but hopefully the actual rest and recuperation will have done him good and we'll get the bill that we all know back. But I think, like, taking the Palace game into consideration, you put Bamford in there, and for me, he scores in the first half where Tyler just doesn't make more from that Dallas cross. And that's not me slagging Tyler off. He's just a different striker. I think Paddy there is busting a gut to get on the end of that because he's just that number 9.
And the Rodrigo chance as well.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah,
like running onto it. That is Bamford's bread and butter. That chance.
Yeah,
definitely.
No, I would say honestly, like when he was playing, he only played the first 5 games. He left us with a goal and 2 assists. We still don't have anyone that's created more goals. So weirdly enough, like for me, it's the creative part of him that we've missed the most. We've had to obviously rely heavily on Rafinha to get us goals, which has taken away Rafinha from creating goals. And you can see that's reflected in what we've done in terms of how much we've created and that frustration of like relying on a couple of penalties to get us results lately, or just generally a tiny bit of luck in games that perhaps we didn't deserve results from. So, Mike, what do you think? Are you excited to have Bam Bam back?
Yes, especially the pressing part of it. I don't. No, darling. Sorry, my daughter. 2 seconds. Yes,
no worries. Chris, if you want to take over, are you excited to have the creativity of Patrick Bamford back with us?
It's just, it's his all-round game, mate. I think we'll get a new dimension to Dan James as well with someone like Paddy Bamford up front. You know, someone who can properly run off, stuff like that. And Dan James has been, well, he was absolutely brilliant against Palace. I'm not going to lie. I thought he absolutely lit the place up at times. But I think a Patrick Bamford style number 9 very much suits a Dan James wing type player, inside forward, whatever you want to call him, wherever Bielsa decides he plays. But I just think Bamford, we've said it before on here, like even promotion season and last season, when Bamford's not in the team, we don't look as well knit together. It looks like there's a link missing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Mike, go on. We'll come back to you. What were you going to say, mate?
Sorry about that. Yes,
right.
the pressing part. It's not been up there. It's not been to the standards that we used to. And I think with Bamford there, he'd press more, especially with the keeper side of it. his work rate,
Yeah.
like just saying there, is second to none. So it will have a massive improvement, especially with the 2-3 behind him, feeding him in or feeding off him as well.
Yeah.
Which will definitely help.
Considering the opposition as well, I'd be intrigued to see not that we haven't seen it before, but like a modern day version of Bamford versus Pontus. I want to see how that plays out. Do you reckon they're still in touch, or do you reckon they were even that arsed about each other when they were there? To be fair?
I don't think Pontus is Patrick's kind of person.
You don't think they go clay pigeon shooting together now?
No. But I agree with Martin. I don't think Bamford will start. I think Tyler probably starts again for me, and Paddy's on the bench. And I think Tyler did enough in the Palace game to warrant starting again. And we don't want to push Bamford too early. He had to play 90 minutes, didn't he, for the 23s because of an injury, whereas I think they're only planning him on 45, 60 minutes. So we don't want to rush him and it be aggravated again. So I think he starts on the bench.
My understanding of the press conference was basically everyone but Robin Koch is fit. Is that what everyone else got from that? Like, obviously Koch's out, but Bielsa mentioned Struijk came off with an injury, still is kind of nursing a hip strain, but could also still be involved. So it's everyone but Robin Koch.
Yeah, that's what I got from it too. Yeah, there's just Koch still out, but I think he still is on the tail end of his injury as well. He's going to be back fit soon as well. So it might be the first time in a very long time that we've had a totally injury-free squad. I'm keeping everything crossed while I'm saying this. Don't worry.
Shut up.
Well, I didn't hex us at the weekend. I said something similar on the big match preview before.
True.
So,
and you were talking about the midfielder getting injured.
Yes, I was.
Sake, man.
And it didn't happen, so I feel okay to tempt fate again. But if it happens again, feel free to give me a punch in the face. All right.
Yeah, we have got the local "I want to punch someone in the face" merchant right with us right now, Chris. If that's your job, mate,
that's fine.
If it all goes wrong, I'm sending you round.
Like that.
So,
I'm round the corner from Melland Road as well, literally about a 10-minute walk away. So
nice.
Should we get into trying to have a little bit of? I mean, it's a horrible game that we play every week, but never get right. Should we try and predict what Bielsa's going to do with this lineup then? We always skip the goalkeeper because there's no point. We know Melia starts in goal. Martin, I'm going to come to you first, just so you can do the spoiler alert and tell us the actual formation. Like, because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't done any preparation for this, as you can see. So I don't even know.
Your hands full. You've got your hands full.
I'm gonna wait for your answer so that I can actually think of mine. That's why I've come to you. Then I'm gonna go around, and then by the time it gets to me, I'll have an answer. So hit formation.
Well, obviously, as we all know, Bielsa bases his formation off the opposition. Brentford have been playing a 3-5-2 this season, so it means they're playing two strikers, and Wemo and Tony. They only play one wide player on both sides, so that I would expect us to only have one wide player on both sides as well. But who knows how they end up shaping up, because I expected Brighton to play in a similar formation, but they end up playing the four at the back. So it's possible Thomas Frank decides to try something different to catch Bielsa out a bit. But if he doesn't, 3-5-2, that should mean we will play something similar, about 3-5-2 as well. So we're going to be expecting 3 centre-backs, 3 midfielders, one on both sides, have a wing-backs or wingers, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, that's the line I'm expecting. If we go from centre-back, since that's the first one back, I'd expect the right-sided centre-back to be Llorente.
Yeah.
And then the middle, probably Calvin. I'd say he might end up dropping in between them. And then on the left... Oh, but then again, we could even see Strauch and Cooper start centre back. So,
mate, he's done it before he started.
Exactly. So I'm not 100% certain who it will be. But I'm leaning towards Phillips and Cooper as the other centre backs.
Mike, what do you think of the back three? What do you think we'll get?
I'd probably say Strauch instead of Phillips. I think he'll stay in mid, not as centre back. He's much needed. Yeah. I think Phillips and Forshaw needed in mid than someone else there.
Yeah. Chris, are you the same?
Yeah, except I don't like us playing 3 at the back, full stop. Does my
Well, I don't think anybody really does, but it is one of them.
But I hope we. I understand. I completely agree. We could well see Calvin dropping there. I hope we don't. I'd rather see Pascal, Coops, and Llorente as a back 3.
Yeah.
Especially against a team like Brentford, where I feel like Coops have been wasted so far. Not Coops. Calvin have been wasted so deep. I think we need him pushing up slightly, so then Forshaw can push up slightly and knock people out in the cop with wild shots. Good times.
Yeah. No, I'd very much be inclined to agree with Chris. For me, as much as he played well there against Tottenham, I would always I don't like the square pegs and round hole things where it can be avoided. And when we have the options available, I think the only thing that sees Calvin start in that back 3 for me is if they do decide that Stroke isn't fit enough to start. So if he's on the bench, then maybe he drops into that back 3. But like Chris said, in the midfield, in a game like this against, I'm not going to do the opposition down because they are obviously a good team. For me, Ivan Toney is the one that frightens me the most. I don't really know who I want to see marking him if it's not Pascal, because at the moment I don't have full confidence in Llorente. And obviously I do think Toney can give Liam Cooper a hard time. So for me, that back 3, I'd like to see it have Pascal in it and obviously Calvin further forward. What do we think about the 2? We'll go wing backs, right wing back and left wing back. Are we going Dallas and Firpo, or do we think Ayling gets in, Martin?
I'd probably lean towards it be Dallas starting with Firpo on the other side. I don't think he'll want to risk him straight out. We could see him get some minutes towards the end of the game, maybe the final half an hour, just to give him some proper first team minutes. But I think it probably will end up being Dallas. But who knows? It's so difficult. Yeah, but it could equally be Pascal at left wing back. We don't know. But I think Firpo did have a better game midweek. His first few minutes was dodgy, to say the least, giving away that yellow card quite early. But after that, he grew into the game and he had a reasonable good game. He had some good combinations going on the left flank and he got into the box a few times and he was found in the box a couple of times. So I'm hoping that he does play, to be honest. I would like to see him build on that confidence from the last game. And we saw how important the goal, if you've all seen his reaction to when the goal went in, him dropping straight to the ground. As you can tell he's got a lot of passion for us and he seems to get it. So I'm hoping that he can build on that confidence.
Mike, are you sticking with Dallas on right wing back and Firpo left wing back, or would you switch?
Yeah, no, I'd stick with those 2. Personally, I think Firpo
in between them.
Yeah, I think give Firpo games confidence and back him, he'll actually come good. Whereas the in out half a game isn't going to do anything for him.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's one of them as well, though. Obviously, if it isn't working, you do have the luxury with Ayling back now, where you can bring Firpo off, shove Dallas on the other side, and now Ayling is back, and we have probably our first choice right back, and on form anyway, what you would say is the best performing left back in Dallas, more than Firpo, as a right back and left wing back option. It's good to at least have that there. Wouldn't you agree, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. The fact that Dallas can pretty much play anywhere, I wouldn't be worried about him going in goal, to be honest. So we've got that option. The one thing I didn't think...
They all want to go in goal. Calvin's going in soon.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't think about when we're on about the back 3 is, does he put Ayling in there with Llorente and Cooper?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's something I was just about to mention to Sue as well, because he's done it a lot. And for what it's worth, I actually feel Ayling is probably the best choice for that right centre-back role. Mainly because the reason why, I'll tell you why I feel it anyway. When we've got a back 3, usually we have one less player in midfield. After this game, it won't be as much of an issue because we should have more midfielders in there. But he's the best player on the ball, carrying the ball out, and having one of the 3 centre backs to carry the ball out is a big thing in back 3 centre backs. You see it with Tuchel's Chelsea; they do it a lot, and plenty of other teams with back 3s. We've experienced it a lot recently ourselves. It's been one of our big things which has caused us problems with centre backs carrying out from the back. And yeah, if that could also happen, like Chris said, so.
Obviously, he's always inclined to not throw people straight back in, but I've always thought, to be honest, especially when Shackleton stopped performing to such a high level and started putting a couple of iffy performances in, I've always kind of thought as soon as Ayling was back, I just thought he'd go straight back in, Chris.
There's every chance, mate. We know, one, how loyal Bielsa is to the core group of players. And if Bielsa deems him fit and he had a good 45 minutes, no niggles, and his body fat's at the right bloody percentage and all the rest of it, then there's every chance Bielsa throws him back in. You know what I mean?
I thought the 45 minutes sort of like indicated he's playing.
Yeah, exactly. You'd think if he wasn't, then it'd be right. Play 90, see how you get on for 60, 75, even 90 minutes. So, mate, we might see him in the back three. Which I prefer. I do agree with Martin, because I prefer Ayling at the right of three centre backs, because it pushes Llorente to the middle, and I think he's better there. With then Coops pushing out left slightly, it feels just a bit more balanced to me. Does that back three
and then
straight rather than fast.
Keep Dallas and 𝐾𝐻 as the wing backs.
Yeah, definitely. I think Dallas is just back to he was superb against Palace. I loved watching him down in our corner where we were filling. That's it. I just loved watching him. He was superb. Just climbed all over Zaha constantly. And
the bit where he's on the floor, I was literally like 5 yards away from that. And Ellie's like, he's just kicked him in the head. I was like, he fucking didn't. He didn't kick him in the head. Dallas has intentionally handballed that, and he's made it look like he's headed. And everyone's talking about, he's headed the ball away. He didn't. He slapped it away with his hand. Like, I'm that close to it, mate. Yeah. His head does not touch that ball. No, and then he shit out. He stays down and grabs it. He won't hurt at all. He's handballed it. It's a blatant handball.
You can see it on TV. Even when the other replays, you could see it.
It's a handball.
He's just done well. He's done well because he's thrown his head towards it as he's knocked it away. So you're like, no, okay. But
he's disguised it.
Yeah, the thing is with Firpo is we've all been saying it, and fans have been saying it most of the season until he had a couple of shockers, and people were like, I don't want to see him in a Leeds shirt again. Was he needs game time? So give him game time. Yeah. He showed enough second, and I walked out of that ground on Tuesday and was like, he's shit. I've had enough of him already. Then I watched the game back and I was like, oh, actually, he didn't do too bad second half. He's better going forward than defending, but he showed plenty going forward second half. So, give him more game time, see how he gets on.
I agree. I do think going forward, I think he offers something similar to Alioski, to be honest, going forward. I don't think he's that much better, in all honesty. I mean, he doesn't twat him into the south stand every 5 seconds, which I suppose is an upgrade. But defensively, I think they're exactly the same. They're both as bad as each other defensively. So if it's not going forward, I don't really know where this upgrade.
What I liked about him was just his reactions when he was going forward. It's like, I think we got a free kick on the left. Rafinha stood over it, and all of a sudden Firpo just took off from an angle. Rafa's clearly seen him because he's just magic, and all of a sudden we're through. So I think there's more to come from Firpo. So keep him in.
Quality players just click with other quality players, I suppose. So maybe they're seeing something we haven't seen just yet. I'm sure there's a reason that he's here and Alioski's not in that case, to be fair. So what do we expect to see ahead of them, Martin? So we've done the back three, we've done the next three. What do you expect to see ahead?
If it is Calvin who isn't in the back three, then I would expect him to be the sitting player out of the three, and then I would expect ahead of them Forshaw and probably Rodrigo, because I thought he did do better when he came on for 𝐾𝐿. But we'll see, because 𝐾𝐿 did start the last game, so we're not sure what Bielsa's thinking and who is. He's a local genius, so he could do anything. But I would expect it to be Rodrigo, to be honest. I think if that's more likely to me, Rodrigo and Forshaw as the two players ahead of Calvin.
Mike, what do you expect to see in that midfield with hopefully Calvin?
I'll probably inclined to say 𝐾𝐿 with Forshaw.
I think we're all hoping Forshaw stays in no matter what, though. That's not the debate here. It's basically in it.
We'll see. I looked the other day. He ran the most distance for the last 2 games, more than any other player on the pitch. Not just Leeds players, the other team as well. so he has to be there.
Yeah,
it's just I would say with Klich to start with.
Chris, would you start 𝐾𝐿 alongside Forshaw or
no?
Rodrigo?
I'm just not seeing anything from Klich at the minute. It's he's the one when we've been sat here early in the season going, oh, what's going on with the 30+ players? He's the one I've not seen a response from. Obviously, Dallas came out, not held his hands up, but admitted he'd been having issues off the pitch. Yeah. And we've seen him come back into form really well. Obviously, Aileen got injured, so he can be judged once she's back and had a few games fit. I'm not seeing anything from Klich really at the minute, which is worrying. So, and I agree with Martin. I think Rodrigo came on second half and without being spectacular, did enough. I think linked up play quite well. So I think Bielsa probably sways towards Rodrigo. Like you say, Forshaw's nailed on. Probably first name on the team sheet at the minute with the way he's playing. He's been unbelievable in the 4 games he's back. Even the Brighton game, he's one of the few players, along with Meslier, who came out with any credit. Yeah. So, I mean, Forshaw all day long, and I just sway towards Rodrigo. He's not the world up either, but I just think we might be getting a bit more from him than Klich at the minute. But it's really 50-50 with them two.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am inclined to agree. I do think with Klich, he is a player that just kind of goes under the radar anyway, even when he is good. So you kind of don't notice some of the good things that he does. But for me, with Rodrigo, the fact that he didn't finish that chance the other night was frustrating. Obviously, he has got a couple of goals while Bamford's been out, but for me, the thing that sort of stood out from him recently is that link-up play. Him and Rafinha really do seem to have a good understanding playing together, and I think I know they're a similar age. I'm not leaning towards the age thing. Maybe it is just quality, but I just think Klich for me. It's not let's get rid of him. It's not bomb him out. He's a good option to have on the bench. Put it that way, but. For me, Rodrigo, for especially the quality of the player against the quality of team we're playing, I think he can cause, especially a player like Pontus Jansson, he can drag Pontus Jansson out of position quite easily, I'd imagine. And obviously, if we have got Tyler Roberts, say, up front, then dragging a player out like Pontus, Roberts is going to need help to get that goal. He needs a goal big time, especially before Bamford gets back. So I'd say stick with Rodrigo, and then obviously we've just got the two wingers. Is it wingers, Martin?
No, we probably won't be playing with wingers.
It'll be a Rafinha and Roberts.
It'll just be 2 of them up front. I would probably expect Rafinha and Roberts because Rafinha won't drop out of the side, and if it is just the one wide player on both sides and three centre backs. I know that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not sure what Bielsa is going to do. He's got a lot of decisions to make with this game and what he decides to go for.
Could you take?
No, it's better.
Out and leave Dan James in.
Yeah, that's equally possible. He could. I'm not trying to think who else could play alongside Forshaw in midfield if Rodrigo doesn't. Obviously, Klich. That's what I could see, but that still wouldn't open up any more space for any of those other players. You've got Harrison, you've got James, you've got Rafinha.
I think Dan James
Roberts.
Yeah.
And obviously so does Rafinha. So it could equally be Rafinha and James up front. I could not tell you honestly. That is one that I'm not going to make.
I'd like to see James and Rafinha. If anybody, I would then drop Tyler. Obviously, he did come on and he did quite well last game, and not come on, he started, but he did well, like link-up play. But I would ease towards James and Rafinha.
Chris, are you the same, or are you wanting Tyler to start?
No. I mean, like I said, you couldn't question him starting if he does start him after the Palace performance. But the striker's judged on goals, right? And is there a case that rather than in that midfield, we leave that hole with Forshaw there, so it's a bit solid if Calvin's there as well. And we play Rodrigo up top, and that means we can obviously drop Tyler and then play James and Rafinha as well around him. Yeah. There's options, which is nice. rather than Archie Gray looking shell shocked that he's with the team at 15 like that. What's going on here?
No, for me, as much as I never want to give Tyler Roberts the same criticism that he gets thrown at him quite a lot, which is that the numbers, basically, the amount of games he's played, the amount of goals he's scored. But like you just said, Chris, it is about end product. And I know Dan James hasn't scored a bundle of goals, but he has got one in the last couple of weeks, and he has played very well as that. Rafinha,
he doesn't look scared to shoot now, Dan James, since he got that goal. So there's more to come from DJ, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be upset to see Tyler start. I think he's earned the right to be able to be on the team sheet and not have people groan like they did maybe a few weeks ago. But at the same time, like, just giving me the form of the players that are playing at this moment in time, I would like to think that maybe Tyler is on the bench and he's an option. At the same time, with him being that option, if Bamford's on the bench, I'd say Bamford comes on instead of Tyler. So I don't really know where that leaves him. But Tyler does press well. I don't think anyone's really going to moan about his pressing. I think it is just the end product thing. But we'll move on. Obviously, that's the expected lineup. If you can kind of take out of the mess of what we've just said, what we think the lineup's going to be, we will all be wrong.
We know Calvin and that Forshaw and Rafinha are going to play, and Melier. There you go. The rest
Cooper's 5.
Cooper,
Llorente will probably play 6.
Right, we're over halfway. We've done all right.
Yeah, we've got 6 of them that we're sure on. The rest, anything could happen. Just throw it all up in the air and just see what cup it lands in, basically.
You could even put Tyler in the centre with Forshaw, maybe.
Yeah.
Try that.
That's also possible, yeah.
Yeah, mate, anything could happen. So how do we see the game going? Do we feel confident heading into it, Martin, especially with the last 2 results? Like, you got to feel a bit confident, right?
Yeah, definitely. We've had some good results recently. We haven't conceded in 2 games, although that's probably more to do with the opposition bad finishing than us limiting chances, but I'll take it.
I've only just realised. That's 2 clean sheets in a row.
Yeah, 2 clean sheets in a row. I know, it's sort of gone under the radar.
Isn't that the 4th of the season?
Something like that, yeah. We've somehow managed to get 2 in a row, which is great for us. But yeah, the game itself, it's going to be an interesting one. I think it could be similar in a lot of ways to against Palace, really, because Brentford won't always try to keep hold of the ball when they're against a team who are better at keeping the ball than they are, like we are. That's one thing we do well. But they also won't press massively high compared to some teams. It'll probably be a similar mid-block to what Palace put out, which they tried to start pressing high in the early goings, but we were playing through it a bit, so they dropped that back a bit. But they play quite direct. They do hit the ball long to their big guy up front, Tony. So that they look to play off him and Mbeumo. So I would expect to see a lot of long balls going. So that's something we have to be aware of. It can catch us out with us playing.
No.
Honestly,
no.
And then
Diego Llorente, mate, we'll be fine.
Well, we'll see. But
we need Pascal in this back 3 so fucking bad.
There is obviously that's the next thing I was going to get to. Brentford have a lot of tall players in their squad, not least the giant Swede who we are all very familiar with. Luckily, their tallest player is actually injured. Christopher 𝐾𝐎𝐔𝐑, who yes,
I didn't know
he's injured. He is injured. I found it out a couple of days ago, which made me very happy because that guy is 6'7".
Yes.
So that would definitely have hurt us. But they still have a lot of big players who we have to watch out for on set pieces. But if we can play well in the build up, we have every chance of getting a win. Definitely.
Martin, he's after your job, is Gary. If you want to replace Martin, mate, send your details.
I like that. I like that start, Gary. Yep.
What do you think, Mike? How do you think the game's going to go? Do you think, are you confident?
I'm more confident now with the result from last game. I think it could go one of 2 ways. So it will be not like a snatch and grab, but it'll be like a 1-2-1 win. It'll be a close game, or it will be a free-for-all goal-scoring machine game.
That's what I'm hoping for. Well, as long as we win it anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
we kind of expected that against Palace, and then it just did not happen.
No.
We totally got that wrong on the preview for that one. So another 1-0. Would we all take that?
No.
I'll take it. I'll take it all day long.
Yeah.
And if our results go our way, we'll go up to 11th, above Brentford as well. So,
Chris, you must be feeling confident. You were riding the happy unicorn wave the other night. You were very happy. There was smiles and everything.
For me, mate, this is why I think Dan James has got to play, because I think Bielsa will see their back three as very pressable and panickable, much like Palace's were. The Palace backline at times, when especially Dan James was pressing them, looked completely panicked, just because with the speed he was climbing on them, and Tyler backed him up really well with that.
Yeah.
So for me, we've got to press high, press hard, like we do it properly. Like first 15 minutes against Palace, if we can press like that and not let Brentford out, they'll shit the pants. And Pontus will be the one that shits it the most, because we know what he's like under pressure. The man cracks. He does.
Mate, you know for a fact he's thinking it's all about him as well on Sunday. I'm going home, it's all about me.
Pontus will either have a 10 out of 10 game or a 2 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
There'll be no middle ground. He'll either be absolutely brilliant or his arse will fall out in the first 10 minutes and he'll pull a hamstring.
No, I would definitely expect that. In all honesty, I would say, based solely on the last 2 games, form and points, if you would have said to me before those 2 games, we pick up 4 points, I would still say this game is must win. Perhaps it's because of the nature of the results and the performances. If you tell me we don't win on Sunday, because of the way the table turned out, I wouldn't say it's catastrophic. I've gone from feeling like we're in a relegation battle to, no, we'll be all right here. We're okay. Don't get me wrong, 3 more points would definitely make me feel like we're a mid-table team here. That's good. 1 point would probably still suffice as well in making me feel that way. But if we lose, then I won't be the only one that would be like, shit, we're back in a relegation battle here. So it's one of them where like I'm not shitting myself as much as I was, because I was a lot, in all honesty. I probably hit it, but I was. I think most.
Yeah, I was a bag of shit. I was a bag of shit on Tuesday night. I was like, oh god, we can't lose this. We can't lose this. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm confident, you know, like, and I said that going into the Palace game, and I was confident of like a high scoring, free flowing 4-3 win. And obviously I was wrong about the way the game turned out. And obviously like it wasn't quite the game I was hoping for. It was extremely tense, and it was a massive relief, to be honest. It still didn't quite sink in afterwards, to be fair.
You could tell, couldn't you, that how tense it was, because when we all got back in at Billy's after the game, we were all just the first time I've ever sat down in Billy's, because we were all knackered. No one spoke. We were all just sort of sat.
I just listened. Like I couldn't really. And everyone was watching on the screens, like, was it a handball? I was like, I don't even fucking care. I just want to get so mentally drained from what's just happened. This was meant to be like, oh, goals. And I was like, fuck me, this is hard, you know. Like the amount of small heart attacks in one game, it was hard to take.
My heart, I think, skipped 2 beats with the Benteke prod of the foot and Melier doing the 180. I was like, oh.
Mate, the Benteke header as well. I was convinced the header was in.
So from our angle, it looked it, didn't it, all day long?
I was convinced that was in. And then, obviously, I think the biggest heart attack of the actual night was we'd got the penalty and we'd all gone, fucking yes! Oh, shit, he's got to take the penalty and score the penalty. It scored fine. I was like, oh, Rodrigo scored the last one. Rodrigo will take this. Then Rafa's, all right, yeah, it's Rafa. I'm all right here. He steps up. The whole stadium goes fucking dead silent as he stops. And then, even though no one makes a sound, you can hear nearly 40, I think like 35,000, 35 people screaming inside, why have you stopped, you dickhead? Just shoot. And obviously, like that was like,
do you know what, Phil?
I was gone.
You're absolutely, because I thought it was one of those things like when he did the hop, I thought it was one of those things that I'd imagined that had gone quiet, and then I watched it back on TV, and you hear the ground go silent as he's in the air for a second, and then obviously it erupts as it hits the back of the net. But it was such a strange feeling. I mean, Jack didn't even watch it, and we know what Jack's like. Jack turned his back on it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jack turned his back on it. He couldn't watch it.
Not for the faint-hearted.
It was madness, but the best way to win a game in it like that, last minute, especially after they've been time wasting for hours again.
What's that all about? Time wasting when it's 0-0 in the 60th minute.
Mate,
embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Yeah, but at least
this division is shit. No one listens to me. This division is shit. There's 3 teams in it that are good. The rest is shit, mate.
I agree. At the moment, the table doesn't deny it either. If you looked at the results, everything went our way this midweek. That literally the 5 teams below us didn't win. Yeah. The 5 teams ahead of us didn't win. In fact, 4 of the 5 teams ahead of us lost. That's how mad that's what was.
Well, mate, if all the top end of the table more as well, would have gone up another place.
Yep, exactly. It's crazy how shiftable this league is at the moment. There's just barely any points between us, and we could easily, if we manage to get something out of our mad December, and other teams ahead of us don't, because other teams have got bad runs as well. We aren't the only ones. There's a lot of big games over Christmas, so if we can get that, I fancy us at Etihad after last year. I fancy us there. There's no doubt in that. Stuart Dallas at Etihad, that is an award-winning combination, and I fancy us for a couple of those.
This is for me though another reason why 3 points on Sunday is so important, because it relieves the pressure a bit, and we're a better team when the pressure's off, because we go out and play our football more without the worry of 17th and a point off relegation. So we win on Sunday and we bridge that gap a bit more. I agree. I think we'll go and surprise one of those teams out of that 4 that we play. Arsenal for me, I think we might get something from.
I think there's also one that we've got to look out for. Is that if Bamford doesn't start at the weekend, he's most likely starting away at Chelsea. We know how much he loves to score against his old teams. He did it last year, so that's going to be a return to talk about, I'm hoping.
I must admit, I don't fancy us at this moment in time. Those 3 that are like, you look at, and all you need to look at is the last column, the goal difference. Like, nobody else in the entire league has a goal difference higher than 0, I think, apart from them 3, and they're all above 30. Like, it's fucked. But like Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City, I think if we get anything out of those 3 games, I'd be very, very, very happy. But I'd also be extremely surprised. Whereas Arsenal, I know they're a better team than the teams we've played in the last 2 seasons when we played Arsenal. But I still feel like we can get something out of them. They are there to be got at, especially if Ben White somehow gets injured beforehand. Then
do it. You know you want to.
Yeah, I know you're watching, Ben. I know you're a fan. Go on. What about you, Mike? Do you think anything can be taken from those 4 games?
If we win and win well on Sunday, then yes, confidence will be there. If we lose and play poorly, then the confidence will then go down massively, which then will have a knock-on effect. I would like to...
Chelsea first, innit, out of the 4. Chelsea away.
Yeah.
I think we'll be any hopes for that.
Nah. I just don't want to get hammered. I don't want it to be like Man United games, basically. I don't mind if we lose 1 or 2-0 and we play well. That's fine. I can take that. We need performances that don't dick our confidence, basically.
Yeah.
I think we might win one of them.
Yeah. Well,
Liverpool.
What do you mean one of the 3 the big ones?
Yeah, one of the big 3. I think we'll beat Liverpool.
Ooh,
that's big one. Liverpool are in massively good form.
Yeah, but when's the African Cup of Nations?
I think it's January.
January,
yeah. I still think we'll beat them.
Yeah, you're going for the biggest one, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going for Liverpool.
Committed there. Committed.
Well, Martin's gone City. You're saying we're going to beat Chelsea. Chris, Liverpool, Mike. Chris, does that mean you're going to go beat Chelsea then?
Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm going Arsenal.
Out of those three, out of the big three, let's take Arsenal out of that. Out of the big three that we're playing, I think we'll get a point versus City.
Yeah. Pep will overthink it, won't he? That's why we get it.
Yeah, he loves to do that against us. Loves it.
Yeah.
I think we could snatch a point at Chelsea as well, depending on which back three they play.
I'm still not confident. Would you take mate? We're gonna have to take something for one of them because we can't keep both this summer. What do you guys think? Do you think we keep both this summer?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be really difficult to keep both. All up until the last couple of weeks, I was like, it'll be Rafa that goes. But it's strange. I know Calvin's now come out and said there's been no fallout with Bielsa, which is right. I don't think many of us thought there'd been a fallout, but the question still lingers for me is he looking elsewhere? There's been this new contract talk for so long now, and that seems to have gone quiet. I'm not saying I'm just speculating here, merely as a fan sitting back watching. There's absolutely no truth in what I'm saying.
I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys. My phone's just going to die. I'm just going to log onto the laptop a minute. I'll be 2 seconds.
See you in a minute.
I'm talking shit. Don't listen to me, but this is what I think.
Yeah, I'm just slightly concerned that if one of them does go, it might be Calvin. Now that probably before Forshaw came back, I'd have been like, Jesus Christ, we can't lose Calvin. Yeah. Now we still can't lose Calvin. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it don't matter, ship him out. But I'd be slightly less concerned as long as we got the right money for it. I don't want him to go. He's Leeds. He's a Leeds boy. I want him to be a one-club man and stay forever at Leeds. Would I take 170 million for both? The money sounds great, but you've then got to rebuild off losing your two best players, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
Ask Aston Villa. Ask Aston Villa how hard it is
exactly,
to this player.
Yeah, no, more pertinently, ask Dean Smith, mate. That's why he's at fucking Norwich. Martin, a question for you, Martin. Out of the two of them, who do you think is the one that is hardest to replace? And not for money, for what they do for the team.
That's a hard question. Both of them have got very good skill sets. Rafa especially has got an elite level of performances this season and last season. But also so does Calvin. He's represented England at the Euros right up until the final. That's something which is great to see for us. And if I was to say, it'd probably lean toward Phillips would be harder to replace.
Stylistically.
Yeah, stylistically, because the type of midfielder and defender he is isn't an often seen combination. And as well the way that he can dictate play when he is on form. Recently, we haven't seen that from him, but when he is on form, he's easily one of the best in the league at it. And I don't think we would be able to attract a player of his ilk. Yeah. Whereas wingers,
bring the money in as well. When you actually think of the transfer fee to replace the two. I think it's a lot harder to replace Calvin.
Yeah, it is. And wingers are a little bit easier to replace than the position that Calvin is in because there are a lot more wingers out there who would fit Rafa's skill set. Maybe not to his level, but ones who could get to his level. If you look at the club that we bought him from, they've got a very good talent scouting side. Before Rafinha, there was
Baka as well.
And Jeremy Doku, he's currently there. They seem to have a way of finding these really good level wingers, and I don't see why we couldn't as well. So I would expect us to be able to find someone to replace Rafa. Maybe not to his level, but we could use the fee to replace his skill set with two players who can do what he do. Do what he does. So having spending some of that money on a ball carrier and midfielder who can slot in that right side to replace the runs that he penetrates into that half space. But I think if I was to pick one who was most likely to go, I would say Rafinha. But after his recent comments, where he said about meeting his career prospects, and he said that I think he could do it with Leeds.
Yeah.
I think if we do keep hold of him, it won't be for much longer unless we have a very, very, very good season next year. Unless we improve a lot and buy some good players in the summer and manage to finish in Europa League spots. If that happens next year, then I think we might stand a chance. But still,
probably not.
Probably not. No. But yeah,
Mike,
that's
the
my
question
2
that
cents.
you missed, mate, was who out of the two? I think the actual original question was, would you take 170 mil for Calvin and Rafinha? Oh, he's gone. You don't care about the question.
You know what it is for me, and I agree with both of what you're saying completely. And I think Calvin is slightly harder to replace because of his position and where he plays and the level he's at. The other thing I will bring into it again is money. I think because of the player Rafinha is, I also think on the transfer market he brings in more cash than Calvin. If teams are bidding for both, I think Rafinha's the more marketable player. So which again might sway the club.
Brazilian, he scores goals. He's beautiful. Like
exactly.
It's not hard. He sells posters, doesn't he? He's the new Neymar.
Yeah. He's mate, out in Brazil, you just have to look, and he's the footballer on everybody's lips at the minute out there. And he plays for Leeds. It's crazy, right? But he's the one that all talking about in Brazil. They absolutely love him out there. So he's just got massive market value. And I do see potentially a PSG or someone coming sniffing for Rafa.
Mate, that is exactly where I think he leaves us for, if anywhere. That's where he goes, I think.
And that's also why I would be better to see Rafinha leaving than Calvin, because I think if Calvin goes, he probably ends up staying in England. Yeah. And I really don't want to see him pull on another shirt against us.
There's not many that I'd be happy seeing him wear, to be
fair. No, there isn't, but it would be less heartbreaking because we wouldn't have to see it at Elland Road, him wearing another shirt as often. But if he went to... If you went to say PSG himself, then that wouldn't be as
Mike,
bad.
I'm going to attempt it again, mate. Feel free.
I don't know what happened then.
I assume you know what the question is by now.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer it?
So 170 for both.
I mean, we don't have to talk about 170 for both, but I'll give you a different question. Do you think we can actually get to the start of next season without selling either?
I think there's a slim possibility. It does depend on league positions, what the promises would be for next season. So say if they had like a Jack Grealish clause, for example, that you can leave for X amount of money if we don't get into Europe, say something like that. Then
I think there might maybe be one of those clauses for one, if not both of them.
I think.
Go on, Mike.
I don't know. I think Phipps might end up having something like that if he does sign a new contract. But I don't know. The only club that I could see Rafinha going to would be PSG with the money situation, especially if Mbappe leaves for Real Madrid this summer.
I'm not going to lie. If PSG took about 80, 90 million at us this summer, I mean, don't be wrong, I don't want him to go, but I'd be like, Leeds have just got 90 million quid off PSG. Can you believe it? Mental.
Especially with our recruitment. With our recruitment, we'd be able to get at least 3 decent players to then improve the squad even more.
Yeah, I agree with Martin. I honestly, as much as it pains me to say it, and I'm not saying Rafinha is not worth the money that we're going to get for him, but bearing in mind how much we signed him for, I really don't think we'd struggle to find another one eventually, or someone that can do at least the job that Rafinha did for us last season and grow into the player that he's become. And then obviously, I actually kind of think one of the first things that you would see happen if we do make that kind of money out of one player, I think you'd see Radrizzani take quite a bit of that money back and maybe sell us fully fledged to the 49ers and move on. And I think that would be like the first step on a chain of us getting growth of a business growth part in a way. Like, you know what I'm trying to say, Chris?
Yeah.
I think it'd be the first part of the next phase for us in a weird way.
A lot of it's going to come down to the value of the club as to what Rads decides to do. I think we're all pretty convinced that he's slowly drip feeding ownership across to the 49ers, and this is almost like a vetting process that he's handing over the club to the right people, because he wants the culture that he's rebuilt with Angus and Victor and Marcelo to remain and everything else. But I do think within the next 18 months to 2 years, we will be franchise owned by an American conglomerate worth, I think, $3.5 billion. Fire up the goal music.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they continue to. I say continue, bearing in mind what Angus has done last week, but continue to listen to the fans and care what the fans think. We're gonna just gloss over that because we're all biased. We're happy to pretend Angus is perfect because we're gonna play against him again this summer. Angus, if you're watching, we love you, mate. Say what you want about Maoism, we still love you, pal. Martin, what do you think when it comes to the long term? Do you kind of see, like, we are going to do score predictions, by the way. I will get back round to them. I don't know why we've drifted off, but we have. Do you think that it is basically like 49ers is coming, not far off?
I don't think they've made any effort to hide that fact, really. If you listen to the Phil Hayes show, Phil has talked about that before, that it's gonna come eventually. They've slowly been increasing their share of the club, and it's gonna happen, I think. Obviously, Radrizzani's a businessman. He did buy us, so he could make some money off us, and fair enough. But yeah, he has done well. He has done a lot for his club, so fair play to him. If that does happen, he sells up. I wouldn't blame him.
He would leave the best chairman we have had in such a long time.
Well, the threshold for good owners for us is pretty low, to be honest. So, but yeah, he is still, by a long margin, the best owner that we've had for a long time, and I appreciate everything he's done for the club. He's made some missteps, as every owner will do. The Myanmar tour, of course. The the National Front / Leeds United badge. Yeah, it's. He isn't perfect.
Yeah, he's really not perfect.
No, he's not.
He's not. You know what? Out of all the things that we've had to be angry about over the years and stuff, I think the badge is the one thing that got me the angriest. I've never been so angry about anything in my life when that new badge was released. I was like, that cannot happen.
No, that is probably like. That'll be a fond memory, I think. Now, looking back, it'll be something Radrizzani's nuts.
It's definitely the funniest misstep that we've made. Yeah, that's also, but I think he's more of a backseat owner. Well, not that owner, sorry, but a backseat shareholder. I don't think there's going to be any major investment from him. I think just because he's a big Leeds fan, he sees that we're doing well and he wants to have some little part of that, I think.
Him, like, wanting to, like, instead of financially getting involved, more like on the actual board and having a say in the business side of it. So that's my understanding of. Is it Peter Lowy? I've not got his first name wrong there, have I? Peter Lowy?
I think that's right. Yeah, that sounds right.
I may have got it wrong, but yeah, my understanding was that he's very good at business. That's why he's extremely rich. Doesn't he owns Westfield, right? The printers and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do kind of know what I'm talking about every now and again. I don't just chat shit all the time. Right, we will do score predictions because we've meandered elsewhere a lot. Back to Brentford and this game on Sunday. We'll go round the clockwise way. Martin, just give me a score prediction.
I'm gonna go another 1-0. It's boring, but I think that's generally what's going to happen. Brentford have got a pretty tight defensive structure. They've conceded a little bit less than us, but they also have been unlucky, and maybe they should have conceded less than what they have done. So I think it is going to be a tight game. I can't see there being a massive gap between whoever wins and the loser. It'll be a 1-goal difference either way. So yeah, I'm just going for a boring 1-0 victory. I'm going to say that it's going to be, who's going to score? Adam Forshaw. Why not? Adam Forshaw, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
bit
No,
less. Fair, Mike.
I'm going for 3-1.
Who's scoring? Give us your goal scorers as well. You don't need to tell us about theirs. We don't care.
Purely for fantasy football reasons only. Dan James get 2 and Rafinha the other one.
And is Rafinha getting the 2 assists or something like that? Is that what you need? You got Dan James in your fantasy team.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck me, you're optimistic.
It worked well when he scored the other week.
Well, yeah, fair. I mean, everyone's got Rafinha, surely.
Yeah.
Dan James is out there, mate.
I did have Rodrigo.
That's it.
I did have Rodrigo as well at one point.
Wow. I always get Meslier. You've got to have Meslier, you've got to have Rafinha, and you've got to have Bamford if Bamford's fit, basically.
Last season I did.
Well, yeah.
Last season.
Chris?
2-0.
Goal.
Another clean sheet. I like it.
Goal scorers. Do you know what? I'm going to go for sure gets one as well. And Rafinha, an absolute worldie. Absolute Wurlitzer from Rafa that nearly takes Pontus's head off as it's firing towards the top corner.
See, I'm going to go for the same thing I went for the other night. I don't see a clean sheet. I think Ivan Toney's a beast. And one way or another, I don't think he's going to have our defence's pants down, but I think he'll score because I rate him quite highly. I would have loved us to get a player like that. Not to replace Bamford, but I just think instead of maybe Rodrigo, like the two of them, I think it'd work really well together. Generally speaking, I do see us scoring. I think Rafinha is just on fire. Even when he doesn't play completely like 10 out of 10, he still gets goals. I can see a 3-2, 4-3, some kind of thriller where there's goals. It'll sway back and forth. I think it will be a tight game. Pontus Jansson's going to make some sort of fuck up somewhere, boot one into the back of his own net because he's a Leeds fan. It's going to be another heart attack waiting to happen.
I can't cope with another. That's why I want 2-0, and I want the first one to. Well, I want them both to come early doors, and then I can just come early and relax.
You know that's not happening.
No.
The first goal will be like the 73rd minute, and then it'll go mental. Like we'll have a 10-minute spell like Norwich, where it was 0-0. The whole game was fucking pointless. Then 10 minutes, oh great game. Rest of the game pointless again.
I'm getting old. I can't cope with shit like this anymore. I just need a peaceful life.
So obviously, like if 3 points that I think it was Mike said would take us up potentially to 11th. I know that doesn't actually points wise look that big, but it would take us point behind Leicester and Brighton, 3 points off Europe.
Strike up the band.
Yeah, mate, Joe Wayman's never put it away, has he? I bet you he's kept the faith all the way through this on his channel. You got Oscar
the thing is as well, which is a sort of Ollie's half made the point, is Brentford only played last night?
Got beaten 2-0 by Spurs.
Yeah, got run around by Spurs. They had to put some yards in.
Wait a minute, we've managed to go, what is it, like nearly an hour, especially Chris I'm looking at here, without saying a thing about Thomas Frank. How have you managed that? How have you managed that? I thought you'd have got us demonetized by now, mate.
No.
You're letting yourself down.
The man's an absolute whopper. I can't bite him. In fact, I hope Rafa does what he did to Bielsa I think was it Norwich and ploughs the road and takes him out.
I'm hoping for as well. Phillips on Andre Mariner kind of.
Yeah, mate, honestly, I just look at the bloke and he just boils my piss, makes my shit itch. Can't stand him.
He does induce vomit. I don't know what it is. You just look at him and just.
There are Leeds fans out there that want him as the next manager.
I've never seen this before, and I don't want to.
I got wrung out, mate, because someone asked in a Facebook group, who would you like to see follow Bielsa if he left? And someone put Thomas Frank, and I was like, behave. Not in a million years. The man's an absolute weapon. And I got absolute pelters on there from people. I was like, the man's an absolute screamer.
People have short memories.
We've got academies. We couldn't have him anywhere near academies. You know the guys are not going to go there.
Don't you start.
We're on it's a shame Scott's not here because Scott's the demonetization weapon himself. Like he's always on it. Yeah, no, Thomas Frank. How did we go that long without? Yes, Jack does love Thomas Frank. Absolutely. Are we going to call it a night, boys? Are we going to leave it there?
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, before we get in trouble. It's probably for the best. Obviously, over the weekend, there's plenty to keep locked into All Leeds TV for. There's going to be pre-matches, I think, have already been done by two of the guys on the panel tonight, yeah?
I've not done one.
Fucking hell.
No, I'm doing mine later tonight. The tactical breakdown.
Scott's got one out already. Scott's got one out already.
Yeah, Scott has the presser one.
When these two can be asked pulling the finger out, there'll be more for you to watch. Obviously, there's a watch along on Sunday. Mike's going to be putting plenty of funny things on our TikTok. And obviously, we'll be back with player ratings, obviously, after the game on Sunday, perhaps maybe even Monday, not sure which yet. Keep having a look and seeing what we've got coming up. If you haven't already, as Oscar would say, smash that like, guys. And obviously, subscribe again if you haven't already. And enjoy the game. First and foremost, most important thing, let's get 3 points and have a good time on Sunday. If you go in, send as much abuse Thomas Frank's way as you can. Good night, people. Thank you for joining me, Chris, Mike, Martin, and thank you, obviously, everyone, for watching. We will see you all very soon. Wade,
Bye.
Bye.